welcome to the first ever Sub-TV Sports News, the only show dedicated to student sport and nothing else. Over the coming months, we'll be focusing on one of the most hotly contested events of the British University sporting calendar, the Boosa Rugby Championships, and with the promise of playing the grand final at the home of English rugby on the 23rd of April, it's not hard to see why. Welcome to the road to Twickenham. So here we are at the end of the league stages. Now we know the final standings, we can see who's made it through to the draw for the final 16 in both the men's and the women's competitions. And we can also take a look and see who's not done quite so well. Little tip for you here, keep your eyes peeled for Cardiff University's men's team. Not the best season. But first, let's check out the girls. It was a case of from the sublime to the ridiculous in the Women's Premier League North, with Northumbria University starting a winning streak at the beginning of the season and not letting anyone else join in, winning their whole 10 games. On the flip side, Manchester University managed to complete an equally astounding feat, only notching up 15 points over the whole season. Must try harder, girls. See me after class. And in the Women's Premier League South, last season's champions Uwick had an absolute stonker of a season, conceding just 15 points and scoring a staggering 505. Now, I don't want to jump on the whole drugs in sport bandwagon, but will somebody please test their Wii? And luckily for the College of St Mark and St John, everyone in this group goes through to the final 16, which makes me wonder why they played the games in the first place. Probably just to see girls roll around in the mud and stuff like... Sub-TV does not condone the views or opinions of this presenter. And on to the Midlands Conference for another team with a perfect record, Nottingham Trent, who took on local rivals Nottingham University in a grudge match to end all grudge matches. Just a shame the whole thing got called off, really, wasn't it? Not to worry, Trent are still in the running and we'll let you know how they got on the next Sub-TV Sports News. And it was a two-horse race to see who got through from the Northern Conference, with Sheffield University and Durham both vying for top spot. As it turned out, Sheffield Uni won by a photo finish and Durham got cordoned off, shot and turned into glue. And in the South Eastern Conference, St Mary's University College have made it look easy so far, dominating the league and conceding just 10 points in their 9 out of 9 winning streak. They must be feeling pretty confident right now, but let's see how they fare when they get into the last 16 and have to go up against the big boys. Against the big girls. And in the Western Conference, it's been a pretty closely fought affair between Gloucester and Exeter to see who gets to represent the West in the last 16. Gloucester unfortunately got caught by an Exeter body blow just before the final bell and went down like a sack of spuds. And Highland drama in the Scottish Conference, with 3 clubs all stuck together at the top of the table vying for the top spot. That's St Andrews, Dundee and Glasgow. And there really was no way of separating the 3, so we did it the only way we knew how. We contacted NASA and put the stats through their supercomputer. And at a staggering cost to the taxpayer, it's finally been decided that Dundee and Glasgow go through to represent Scotland in the last 16. Now let's take a look and see what these women are made of with some highlights from last year's final. And I can assure you, it's not sugar and spice. Now moving on to the always fiercely contested men's competition and the North A table, in which the top 3 clubs were so close at the end of things, it was like one of your initiation ceremonies. Luckily though, blushes were spared, Loughborough topped the group and poor old Birmingham were left buying the pints. Newsflash, were UE, Hartbury and Uwick separated at birth? Well, it seems so because both finished the league on exactly the same points, with Hartbury just taking top spot, having won their head-to-head earlier on in the season. And don't forget, these two made it through to the grand final last year as well. Is this the start of a beautiful friendship? Probably not. And a pretty one-sided affair in the Premier North B, with Leeds running away with the title and losing just 1 game all season. Despite that, some people think they're going to be dark horses to win the whole championship, but I like to think of them as My Little Ponies. I genuinely have no idea what that means. And in the South B table, Cardiff Medics stormed to victory. Not only this, but the Medics now have an appointment with the Premier League South A, replacing Big Brothers Cardiff Uni, who will be sick with their form, will be looking to remedy things next season and come back fighting fit. And finally to our friends north of the border to see who gets their 2 wild cards and goes into the final 16. Those places go to Dundee and Stirling, who'll be looking forward to taking on the rest of Britain and representing Scotland in their own inimitable style. OK, so let's have a quick look at who's made it through to the last 16 for both the men's and the women's competitions. The leagues have been decided, and all joking aside, this is where it gets really serious. 2 teams are just 3 matches away from playing in the finals. This is where the road to Twickenham really begins. Over to the girls, and Northumbria have got to be confident. They've given nothing away this season, and if they can carry that form to the knockout, we'll definitely be seeing them at Twickenham. But then I'm sure Uwick, last year's finalists, and Loughborough will have something to say about that. And over to the guys, with Uwick and Hartbury, last year's finalists, neck and neck in the league, you're definitely going to have to watch out for them. And of course, never discount the threat of the fallen giant Loughborough, who, after missing out on the final last year, will be hoping they'll have a much longer road to Twickenham. This is the road to Twickenham, and we're about to move into the fast lane. If you want to get involved in the show or have got any content for us, then get in touch at sub.tv/sport. And don't forget you can keep updated on all the latest results and tables by visiting boosa.org.uk. I've been Chris Dow, and this has been Sub TV Sports News.